Hi, we are doing the income tax revision today. It is for your December 2025 exam. For the direct tax December 2025 exam, Finance Act 4 is applicable, and the assessment year will be 25-26. Previous year will be 24-20. Now, what the Finance Act does is it prescribes the tax rates for the year 24-20 and the assessment year 25-26. So we are going to do Finance Act 24, and these rates are, then we are going to just go through the rates of slab rates for individuals, for company, for LLP, etc. Okay, now if you would know, for individuals there is an HUF. It has two regimes. The default regime, we call it the default, is the new tax regime under 115 BAC. So in your exam, they will not say new and old. They will say compute under the 115 BAC. That means it is under the new tax regime. If they say that he wants to avail the deductions under the Income Tax Act, it means that it is under the old regime. Okay, under the new tax regime, no deductions, exemptions are available unless specified. Okay, now there is surcharge, etc., which are available. We'll just check all of that so that for your exam, you all are clear with the tax rate, surcharge, etc. So the new tax regime says if you are earning up to 3 lakhs, your tax is nil. If above 3 lakhs and up to 7 lakhs, in that slab, that is the 4 lakh rupee slab, you will have 5%. From 7 lakhs to 10 lakhs, 3 lakhs slab, it is 10%. 10 lakhs to 12 lakhs, for the 2 lakh slab, it is 15%. 12 lakhs to 15 lakhs, for the 3 lakh slab, it is 20%. Above 15 lakhs, it is 30% tax rate, above 50, and you will get a standard deduction of 75,000 under the income from salary. Okay. Now, if you opt for the new tax regime, the surcharge is maximum 25%. Under the old tax regime, it is 37%. Okay, so how does it work? If you are earning up to 50 lakhs, zero surcharge. 50 lakhs to 1 crore, 10% surcharge. What is surcharge? It is tax on tax. So, suppose your tax payable, just taking an example. Okay, we found out our income, total gross total income. I found out, let's say for all purposes, my income is 20. This is my taxable income. Okay, my tax payable will be, let's say, again, this is all example. I'm saying after computing the tax payable under my new tax regime will be 20. Okay? After this 20 lakhs, because my income is above 50 lakhs, I will have to pay surcharge of how much? At the rate of, so on this, I will have to pay tax extra. Will pay 20 lakhs will income. Okay. Similarly, 1 crore to 2 crores, it is 15, above 2 crores, 25% it is capped. Okay. Now, under the new regime, earlier for this was 37% under the old tax regime. This is now capped at 20. Okay. Now, if you are under the old tax regime, so 0 to 2 lakhs nil, 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs, 5%, 5, 20, 30, 5 lakh to 10 lakhs, 30%, 10% and above 10 lakhs, 30. Okay. Surcharge, if you see, up to 50 lakhs, it is nil. Similar, 10%, 15, 2 to 5 crores. Here it is above 2 crores is 25. Then here there is above 5 crores, it is 7% tax on. How I give you example of 10%, here it will be 37%. Okay. Now, if you are a firm or LLP, flat 30% tax, surcharge if the income is above 1 crore, 12%, and there will be cess. Okay, if it is a domestic company, it is 30% tax rate. But if the turnover is less than 400 crore, then it is 25%. So most of the companies who generally fall under this bracket. Concessional regime is 22 plus 10% surcharge. Okay, so they are giving a concessional regime. Now, new manufacturing companies, it is 15%, and however, this is not available if the manufacturing company is set up after 2020 March. Okay, that is why this was only applicable if your company was set up before 31st March 20. Similarly, surcharge, this is important, domestic companies about NCR 12%, under 22% or 15% concessional rate, this will be capped at 10%. Okay. Cooperative societies 0 to 10,000 10%, 10,000 to 20,000 20%, about 20,000. Now 4% health and education cess, that is applicable everywhere. Okay. Now surcharge, if income exceeds 1 CR, 7%. There is no special concessional rate for manufacturing activities after which are set up after 31st March 20. Okay. Otherwise you get concessional rate of 50. Trust, if it is a public charitable trust, then it will be exempt if it is registered under section 11 to 13. Basically, you have taken your income tax application for charitable institution, and then you don't have to pay any tax provided you comply with sections 11 to 13. Non-compliant income will be all taxed at maximum marginal rate. Okay, that is your maximum tax applicable for that year, 30% plus your maximum surcharge plus cess. Okay. Now, non-charitable trusts are taxed at highest slab rates and surcharge as per individual surcharge schedule, which we have seen. Now, AOP or BOI, that is Association of Persons, they are also going to be taxed at individual slab rates depending on new tax, old tax regime. Okay, at slab rates, but will be taxed at maximum marginal rate if the structure meets specified conditions. That means you cannot figure out who is the individual beneficiary in that case. Okay. These all follow individual surcharge rates. Same as old regime. Okay. So surcharge plus cess, the maximum marginal rate that is applicable. Now local authority, again 30% flat rate of tax. Okay, 30% flat rate of tax plus surcharge if the income is above 1 CR. Okay, so this is your slab rates. It's important when you're doing sums. Your exam will have lot of sums, so mentally be prepared because this will come in handy. Okay, now whenever you get sums, you don't have to worry because I'm giving you formats. Put the numbers in the formats and you should be okay. You will not get entirely wrong. Even if you don't get the whole sum right, you get marks for steps, marks for the format. Okay. So income from head salary, income from house property, and you have to go in this order only. So you start with salary. If there is no salary, then only you go for income from house property, then business profession, capital gains, income from other sources, whatever you get is gross total income. Okay, then from gross total income you do deductions under section 80. Whatever you get, so you'll get GTI, what we got here, less reduction, the section. So you get taxable income. After your taxable income, then depending on whether it is old tax regime, under the new tax regime 115 BAC or new old tax regime, you find the tax based on the slab rate. Okay, and what you get is tax payable. From the tax payable, if surcharge is applicable, you will add surcharge. If no surcharge, then 0 plus your cess, 4% cess. Then what you get is final tax line. Okay. You always have to, this cannot be in points, paisa, etc. You have to round off the nearest 10. Okay. Now, one other chapter that I think you all should study, because you will get at least 5 marks from here. So we can do this together. I've made it in a tabular form so that it is easy to remember during exams. Now, this chapter is applicable only if, and you should know this chapter only if there is a loss in the business, loss in your income from house property or any head of. First, we'll start with intra-head. Intra-head is within the same head of income. Obviously, yes. Okay, everyone will have it. That means with two different heads of income. Okay. Now, if you see, I have started with income from house property, not salary. Your salary can never be negative, so you can never be at a loss in salary. Okay. Now, one thing, all heads of income, if you see over here, all you can do intra-head. That means if you have a loss in a particular year, for example, I have two houses. I have a loss from one, the profit is under the same head of income. Okay. House property 1, house property 2. Here I have a profit, here I have a loss. If I am setting off between these two only, will be intra-head. Always intra-head is allowed. Always it is allowed for all heads of it. Okay. Now, what happens if actually your loss is more in that particular head? Then you cannot set it off further. Set off you can do only of losses. So I will go to inter-head set off. When I go to inter-head set off, I can only set off max 2 lakh rupees in a particular year. I can set it off, then I can carry forward, and then I can set it off only from income from house property. You need not file the return also on time. Now, however, if it is a business loss, normal business loss, you can set it off against any head of income except salary and carry forward. But once you have carry forward, after that you can only set off against business income only. In this case, you have to file your return of income on time. If you do not file your return of income on time, they will not allow, because you will think that I have got a loss, I don't have to pay the tax, why do I file my return on time? If you don't file the return on time, you will not get to set off, you will not get to carry forward and set off the loss in the subsequent years. So you have to file the return on time. Now, if it is a speculative business, that means any trading business that you do based on shares, derivatives, etc., you can set it off only against the same head of income. That is speculative business loss only. Can't even do it from non-speculative business. Inter-head is not allowed. You can carry forward, but only in 4 years, for 4 years. And you can set it off against the same thing in speculative income. Specified business loss, It is under those like cold chain facility, etc. Those list like hospital, 3-star hotel, etc. Those are specified business. If you have a loss over there, you can set it off against that income only. Okay, and you can carry forward for any number of years. Okay, now this is important. Capital gains. If you have a short term capital gain, you can set it off against the same head. You cannot do any inter head. That means you cannot set off capital gains with any other head of income. Capital gains cannot be set off with any other head of income. Okay, so with capital gains, you can only set off capital gains only. So if I have a capital loss, I can set it off against capital gains only. Short term capital loss, I can do term capital gain, or okay, now, but you can't do it with any other head of income. Same thing, long term capital loss. I can set it off against term capital gains. I cannot set it off against short term capital allowed. Okay, they will give you this to confuse you. Now, loss from any other source, you can set it off in that particular year only and with anything you want, but any head of income. But you can't carry forward. So loss from other sources will never you can't carry forward. Loss from horse races, recognize that you like a speculative business only. You can set it off from that same income only. Okay, unabsorbed depreciation, very important. This comes to confuse so many times in the sums. You can set off in that year, you can carry forward unlimited number, and you can set it off against only business income. You can't set it off against house property, etc. Okay, crypto, then lottery business loss, etc. They are not recognizing any losses till date. Okay, now why I'm marking unabsorbed depreciation? Because you'll see that priority order for business related deduction. First, current year depreciation you will subtract, then you will subtract current year business loss. So first you will do depreciation, then you will do loss, then unabsorbed depreciation, and then you will do unabsorbed business loss. So if you have in the question, they'll give you that I have so much depreciation which is unabsorbed, and there is a loss also, business. Will first subtract unabsorbed depreciation. Okay, now return has to be filed if you saw over here for business loss, capital loss, speculative loss, and racehorse loss. Here business losses में है, then loss from house property, loss from race horses and specified business. Okay, for all business losses, now return need not be filed for house property and unabsorbed depreciation. Very important, unabsorbed depreciation takes priority over business losses during set off. Okay, are we good? Now we can do the sums. Income tax sums. For that, what I'm doing is only giving you format so that the entire chapter is a 1-page summary in front of you. So let's start. First, you always start with basic. Basic is always taxable. Add all the allowances. Now, in your allowances, you should understand there are some which are Exempt, I'll just write over here. Two types of allowances, exempt up to a limit. Exempt the example. Hostel allowance, children education allowance. Okay, now if I say here hostel allowance, 300 per month per child. Over here, education allowance, 100 rupees per month per child. That is maximum. Even if the boss is giving you 10,000 rupees per month, your exemption is subject to 300 per month per child, max 2 children. Same thing, max 2 children. So you cannot take more than 200 rupees exemption per. Okay, now in case of uniform allowance, okay, then conveyance, if I'm going for office purposes, I'm traveling for office work, okay, then researcher allowance, all of this is all exempt up to the extent used. The time I'm using it, no problem. Okay, so now come back over here. So what we are doing, all these allowances, whatever amount you get, okay, so let's say I get an amount of X, exemption allowed is whatever is the exemption, by whatever it is will come here, taxable amount. Okay, example, and you have to take all yearly amounts. Okay, so for example, if I have got 3 children education allowance, I have got 500 rupees per month, and I have 2 children. Allowed is 200 rupees per month. So I will write here. Okay, so said I've got 500, 12. Okay, so that is 6,000. Less exemption will be how much? 200 into 12. Okay, whatever is the amount, 6,000 minus 2,400 will come. Okay, this is how you will do it for each and every. Don't get confused. Now, then you go to perquisites. You see rent-free accommodation, car facility, medical facility, shop, whatever you're getting, all of those are benefits that are given by the employer. You will find the calculation, do the calculation in the note section, like this one, rent-free accommodation. Now, based on which city it is, what is the population, you will take it that way. Okay. Car facility, is it the car is given by the employer, or it is employee's car and only expenses are paid? It is a big car, small car, 1,800 per month, 2,400 per month. So those things will come here. Okay. Now, next you will add all the profits in lieu of salary, like any other benefits that you have got, advance salary, areas of salary will come here. Gratuity. Okay, whatever is the amount that you received, less exemption. So you will do the exemption, find the amount which is allowed under 1010A. Okay, leave encashment. Similarly, VRS compensation or any other pension, computed pension. We have done all of this. You all can do a quick revision from the dream batch. Okay, whatever you get over here is your gross salary. You will get a standard deduction under the new tax regime, which is 75,000. Earlier it was 50,000. Don't get confused. If you are using old books, it will be 50,000 written there. It is 75,000 under the new tax regime. Okay, entertainment allowance, only government employees get it. So it is 5,000 max. And professional tax. Professional tax is only if professional tax is paid. It is 2,500 per annum. You can claim a deduction. For all of this, you will get income from salary. Now, under the new tax regime, very important. Standard deduction is the only deduction you will get. These deductions you will not get under the new tax regime. Even if you have paid professional tax, etc., you know. Okay, now let's go to the next head, income from house property. The most easiest. If you get this sum in the paper, please attempt it. One of the easiest chapters. Municipal value fair rent. Okay, I'll just write here. Value fair rent, whichever is higher. Compare it with standard rent, whichever is lower. Now, whatever you get is expected. Now, compare the expected ER with actual rent received. Whatever you get is gross annual value. From gross annual value, subtract municipal taxes and amount, municipal taxes and unrealized. Just subtract municipal taxes. Okay. The GAV you will get only after you do unrealized rent. That is your GAV. Okay. You'll get municipal taxes paid by the owner. गांव में ना हो. Okay, only one deduction you get here. Then from NAV you will get two deductions: standard deduction and interest on loan on borrowed capital. Interest, remember. Okay. No other deductions you will get. Very important, whenever there is interest on loan, okay, you have to see two things. First, if it is self-occupied property, max is 2 lakhs. Okay. Now, if it is a let out property, there is no limit. Whatever interest you have paid, you can get it. But this is important. Okay. Now, if the loan is taken prior to 1999, okay, then you can, this amount becomes 30,000. This is income under property. Let's go to the next one, capital gains. Capital gains, you start with full value of consideration less transfer expense. Whatever you get is net sale consideration. Get net sale. Net sales, subtract index cost of acquisition, index cost of investment. Now you'll ask how to do index cost. I've made a small little table here. Cost of acquisition into the indexation of the year of sale upon year of purchase. Similarly, if it is improvement, okay, year of sale will remain the same. Instead of purchase, it will be improvement. Okay. Then you will get your exemptions under 54, 54 EC, 4F, 54 EC. Okay, there's a limit. That is, they put in bond. And now, what if now your index table starts from 2001? So, what if your house is purchased before 2001? Possible. In that case, you will take fair market value as on 1st April 2001 or actual cost of acquisition, whichever is higher. And for all purposes, then, even if you have purchased it in 1999, 95, 92, you will take your index, that is 100. Okay. Your indexation as April, year of purchase, will be 2001, 1st April 2001. Okay. And it starts from 100, your index date. Now, short term capital gains, very easy. You will not get any indexation. Full value of consideration less expenses, their cost of acquisition, that will be a short term capital gain. Now, long term capital gains, full value of consideration less transfer expenses less cost of acquisition. Now, if it is a listed company shares, okay, now you will, okay, next. Short term capital gains on equity. Short term capital gains on equity where STT is paid. Long term capital gains on equity, STT paid 10%. These are all tax rates. Okay. You have to know the tax rates. For STCG, it is 15%. For LTCG, it's all listed. STT means listed. Security transaction tax is paid. LTCG on other assets, 20% with indexation. Okay. Now, another thing, if it is listed, okay, so let's say I sold my listed company shares, I got 5 lakh rupees profit. You'll say you have to pay 50,000 tax? No, 1 lakh will be exempt. And the remaining 4 lakhs will be taxed, and I'll pay 10% tax on it. And I will get whatever 40,000. Okay, got it. I'm talking about this. If it is listed company, okay, any income arising to a shareholder on account of buyback of shares referred to in 115 QA. So, company is buying back the shares. It is listed or unlisted buyback. Shareholder pays no capital gains on buyback. Entire amount is fully exempt. Okay, buyback is not subject to any tax in the hands of shareholders. Now let's go to the next one. This is again very easy. It looks difficult. Easy chapter. To start with, the net profit it will be given. Add everything which you feel is disallowed. Cannot be any personal expenses added back. Okay, any cash payments above 10,000 added back. Provisions made, not actual expenses, added back. You'll get total additions. Then income not taxable under. So whatever is the profit given over here, you will subtract anything which is not related to business profession, capital gains, exempt incomes, income from other sources. Okay, and you will also subtract actual depreciation under section 32. So if there is more depreciation they have taken, then what is allowed, you will subtract actual depreciation, add back what is disallowed. Scientific research, whatever you get is come from business. Okay, now this again I'm doing because this is important. Section 44 AD, presumptive limit is increased to 3 crores provided the cash receipts do not exceed 5%. Otherwise, it is 2 crores. If there is cash receipts of above 5%, so then it will be 2 crores is the presumptive limit. For 44 ADA, it is 75 lakhs. Otherwise, if the cash receipts do not exceed 5%, otherwise it is 50. Okay. MSME deductions allowed only on actual payment. So if you have not made the payment, you cannot claim deduction. Okay, income from other sources. All the incomes that are there in your other sources, that will be a dividend, winning lottery, rental income from plant machinery, family pension, gift, other income, sitting fees, etc. will be added. Whatever you get is income from other sources. Then you less the deductions, very few deductions you can claim over here. Family pension and interest from earning and dividend, any actual expenses incurred. Family pension, what is the limit over here? 1/3 or 15,000, whichever is okay. Similarly, if you have a minor child whose income is added over here, you can claim a deduction of 1,500. Okay, it come from other sources. Now, let's do one sum. Let's do this sum together. Compute the gross total income of Rohit, age 40, resident, for the assessment year 25-26 and for the previous year 24-25 from the following info. The basic salary is 70. All of this is given in months, so it should strike you. Convert it into years. Okay, for the entire year, it will be 8 lakh for 20, always fully taxable. Okay, HRA he has received lakh 40, city compensatory allowance 6,000 for the year. Perquisites are already given to you 1,000. Otherwise, it should like you 1,800 or 2,400. The small car 18. It is used for both personal and official use. 900 per month for a driver. So they have done the calculation. Don't use your employer's contribution is 12% of the PF, 12% of basic salary. Within the limit, don't do anything. If it was more, it was 13, 14, 15%, then the extra amount. So if it is 15, the 3% would be added back. Okay, otherwise it is all right. Employee lives in Delhi and pays rent of 25,000 per month. So the year he is paying 3. Okay, assume the contribution is within limits. Okay, so this all of this will be under which head? Income from salary. Okay, let's go to the next ahead. We are just reading the sum right now. Now he has one self-occupied property, it is on loan and he is paying interest on 50,000. It's like you. Only 2 lakhs is allowed for an SOP max test. Give as a deduction. If it was an LOP, there was no problem. Profit from proprietary business 3,40,000. Okay, STCG, LTC both are given 1,20,000, 1,40,000. Okay, saving bank interest 1,000, 25. Dividend from Indian company 22. Okay, now let's start with the sum. So first thing, from income from house property, all the basic, city compensatory allowance, dearness allowance, or all incomes that you have received under this head, you will add it. Okay, HRA. HRA, it should strike you, is allowed as a, there is an exemption given under section 1013A. So let's do it. How do we do together? Okay, so you go in your note section, write amount exempt array 1030. How much? List of the following. Okay, percent of salary. The salary you take only basic and dearness and bonus. BCD. Okay, sorry, basic, dearness, and commission. The part of sale. Dearness, if it is the retirement dearness, in terms of percentage. They said here it is retirement. Otherwise, you will not take DA. You have to take your basic, that is 8 lakh, plus your DA. Is how much? Lakh 20. That gives 9 lakh 6. 4 lakh 8. Last one is 8. Okay. 8. Rent is 10%. Yeah, found. Lakh 4. Okay. So what will be the exempt amount? Lakh 1,000 will be exempt. So from the HRA receipt, lakh 40, the amount I can claim. So everything will be taxable. Go back your note. Basic, fully taxable, dearness allowance. HRA less exempt lakh 4. Okay. Whatever will come is will be added. Okay. Let's do this together. How we'll do it? 8 lakh 40 plus lakh 20 lakh 40. Okay. Plus 6 get 10 lakh. Okay. Your exam will make it like that. Like how we saw it in our exempt amount, make a separate column, put it so that when, but in this you will have only 5 amount, the last column. Okay. You have to show the working in the notes. Income from house property, SOP. Your AV will be 0. Okay. Your NAV will be net annual value. You can get interest on loan as a deduction, subject to max lakhs. You will have to write it by. They have paid interest of 2 lakh 50, but you will get only 2 lakhs as deduction. Profit and gain of business profession as it is. Okay. Now, short term capital gains 1 lakh 20, long term, which should strike you if it did shares under 112A. Okay, 1 lakh 40. Then saving interest, dividend income, all of this you will add. This is income from other sources. Whatever you get is your gross total. Okay. All the best.